with Glenn Grayson this morning from Aruma Resources. Glenn, morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Look, Glenn, firstly, tell us a bit more about some of these high priority targets you've identified at the Bortala Copper Project in Queensland.
That's right. So Bortala is one of our new projects that we're in the middle of acquiring. So these are historic results that were done. And part of the reason that we really like the two projects in Queensland was that they're really underexplored. And these results from Bortala are from drilling done in 1988, primarily. So best part of 35 years old, and that is the last time that any drilling was done on the project. So really underexplored.
You're near is it the Capricorn copper mine there?
That's right. It's adjacent to that, literally kilometres from the northwest border of the tenement. So great for infrastructure. They've got a camp there that's really convenient for us to use for field work. And we're about to go up there and start a bit of field mapping and sampling as soon as my shareholders approve the acquisition.
Also in North Queensland, you've got the Fiery Creek project. Just remind us why this asset's interesting.
Again, so that's about 200 kilometres north of Mount Isa, and it's really good because its history is that it's been held by the majors for a long time. So in the 1990s, it was held by MIM. They did some surface sampling, but no drilling. Got some really good grade copper at surface samples. Then it was held by BHP for a while. Sumitomo held it from about 2007 for a few years. They did do some drilling. Then they did drop it as well. More recently, Rio have held it. They pegged it with 7 targets that they wanted to test, and then dropped it after desktop studies sterilised all 7. So the majors went in there looking for big ore deposits, 50 to 100 million tonne Mount Isa style. That's why they pegged it, because they had the right rocks for that style of ore body. But then when they determined there's not a 50 million tonne ore body, they didn't do any work. So that leaves the opportunity for others. We're not looking for a 50 million tonne ore body. We'll be happy with something a bit smaller.
And so you've got some historical drill data that you're reprocessing, are you?
That's right. Yeah. So this Bortala stuff is Ashton Mining did it in 1988. Ashton Mining were diamond miners and diamond explorers. They came across an outcropping quartz vein with some epithermal textures that they thought was a good gold target. It had 2 grams gold in a sample that they grabbed off surface. They drilled it. Not a lot of success with gold, but there was a couple of holes with some copper. So one of them had 14 metres at a bit over 0.2% copper, 5 metres at 0.5% zinc. So there's base metals there. So it's really interesting. It's got a radiometric anomaly, and I guess primarily geophysics has come a long way since 1988. So we'll go in there and likely look for some deeper drill targets with some geophysics.
Well, look, I suppose just away from Queensland, given the recent uranium discussion, has that given your Willaun uranium project any tailwinds?
It hasn't as yet. It is early days for that project. I've got to get access to the ground with the traditional owners as yet. But it's a good solid target in an area. It's in South Australia, so once we do start work on it, it does mean it's easy to access.
And how does the geology with that project compare to other uranium discoveries in South Australia?
So that is a surface system. So it is surface leachable, primarily as the target. It is being mined with that sort of system in South Australia at the moment. So that's a good one. But Willaun in itself is Paleoproterozoic rocks in the basement that are the right age structures for a Gawler-Craton IOCG. Copper Search, our neighbours just to the north, drill testing their primary IOCG target as we speak. So we're waiting patiently to see what they hit.
Look, Glenn, just remind us upcoming catalysts and near-term news. What are you working on?
So I've got to get shareholder approval for this acquisition. That's going to happen 1st of August is the date for that. I've got some surface sampling happening at my saltwater project up just south of Newman. That's a gold, potentially rare earth base metals project, and then it'll be hitting the ground in Queensland, Bortala and Fiery Creek. So pretty excited about getting up there and doing some work, and that'll keep me and my geos pretty busy for the remainder of the year.
And just from a valuation proposition perspective, how does your enterprise value compare to your peers?
As an industry, us junior explorers have been hit pretty hard. My EV right now isn't much more than zero. So any success on the projects should reflect really well on the share price. I do know, I was on the Gold Coast a couple of weeks ago for a conference, and some of my peers are in a very similar situation. So a lot of junior explorers with EVs of less than $1 million at the moment, really undervalued, and any success on the project should see our share price do really well.
Good to speak, Glenn. Thanks very much.
No worries. Thank you, Andrew.